What's good with you fellas? T-Ray the Collector back here with another video. This is going to be the start of a new series I'm going to be doing called What I Watched This Week. Kind of going over and recapping what I watched this week, giving it a rating, kind of assigning a vibe to the movie, what I thought the vibe should be when you watch this movie, or what kind of mood in general the movie creates. And just kind of giving you a 1 to 2 minute spoiler free review. So if you haven't seen any of these, no worries. These reviews are all going to be spoiler free. So no worries on that front. If you want to check any of those out after you watch this video, you can do it without worrying about it being spoiled. So now that I've kind of explained what everything is and how this works, I'm not going to sit here and ramble too long. I'm just going to jump right in to the 4 movies I watched this week, with the first one being Uncommon Valor from 1983. This is a Gene Hackman movie where he assembles this ragtag group of Vietnam veterans to go rescue prisoners of war that are being held in Laos, and his son is a part of that group, so it's very emotional at times. This is your classic assemble the team structure, and surprisingly, this movie is pretty emotional at times for an 80s action movie. It's got a good bit of humor thrown in, so it's not all emotional, but definitely more emotional than a lot of 80s action movies tend to go. This isn't Rambo, it's a lot more grounded than Rambo, but still I say this movie delivers on action. Not quite as extravagant as Rambo, but still a really good action movie. It's got heart, grit, and kind of like that 80s earnestness that, if you're in the mood for it, I think really works for a movie of this kind. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. Worth the watch if you're in the mood for like an 80s action movie, but with this movie, I think you're also getting a little bit more than an 80s action movie. You're kind of getting something with a lot of substance and a lot of emotional story to tell as well. So definitely be in the mood for an 80s action movie with some substance if you're going to watch this. And the vibe I would kind of assign to it is like this sweaty 80s glory meets like a Sunday afternoon type of watch. Like, good story, good action, something you can watch on a Sunday afternoon and have a pretty good time with, but also be touched by as well. So 7 out of 10 for Uncommon Valor. Up next, I watched Trading Places. This has Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy pretty much steals the show in this for me. Dan Aykroyd's great in it too, but Eddie Murphy's performance is what really makes this movie. Pretty much from the second he rolls up pretending to be like this legless Vietnam veteran, he's locked in. He instantly steals the show as soon as he comes on the screen. Every line delivery from him is slick, confident, funny. It's just Eddie in control before he was even a star. And like I said, Dan Aykroyd is solid in this too, playing the straight man to perfection. The dynamic between these two works a lot better than I thought going into this movie. It's got social commentary, class satire, and just some really great humor that I don't think you would expect when you turn on this type of movie. I think you're just kind of expecting a typical 80s comedy here, but in my opinion, it's a lot more than that. And you get topless prime Jamie Lee Curtis, so that's another reason to watch this movie, in my opinion. Very good scene right there. It's funny, it's fast paced, and feels like a time capsule in a way, and in a good way. Great script, great cast, and Eddie Murphy, like I said, completely owns this. I'm not sure if this was one of his breakout roles, but if it was, it would not surprise me at all because he completely owns it. Like I said, I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Like I said, sharp writing, very good comedy, and a killer lead performance with Eddie Murphy. And the overall kind of vibe here is like a late night couch watch, something you throw on when you want to laugh and just have a good time. This is definitely that type of movie. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for Trading Places. Up next, we got Enter the Dragon from 1973, Bruce Lee's magnum opus. This is a martial arts tournament meets an undercover mission. So whether you're here for the story or to watch Bruce Lee move like a damn lightning bolt, I think you get both of those in this story. Bruce Lee's presence in this is absolutely electric. He owns every scene he's in, kind of going back to the Eddie Murphy thing I was saying about Trading Places. Bruce Lee's kind of that exact same presence in this movie. And John Saxon and Jim Kelly are really good in this as well, but Bruce Lee, like I said, kind of the stealing performance here. Amazing performance by Bruce Lee. I loved the mirror room scene. If you've seen this, you know what I'm talking about. It kind of looks like a nightmare, in my opinion, and like a really good way of showing the vibe of what was going down during that scene. This is a tight, stylish action movie coming in at about an hour and a half, so it's very tight, very stylish. Just a really good, fun, quick watch with kind of a little bit more emotional ties into it. This definitely competes with action films that are made, today, or even, that were made in the 80s and 90s, kind of that peak of the action movie genre. I think this movie definitely holds its own with those movies. And something I thought while watching this is, that Frank Dux, who, if you don't know Frank Dux, he's the guy that Bloodsport is based off of, that Jean-Claude Van Damme plays in the movie. He's a real person. I'm sure most of you know this, but if not, there's a nice little piece of information for you. When I was watching this, I thought this is where he got the story for Bloodsport. This is exactly what he was watching when he decided to be like, I also competed in a underground fight tournament for my life. Because if you don't know, Frank Dux is a known liar. Just look into some of the known lies this guy has told. He is insane. I'm pretty sure he said he worked for the CIA at one point, and there's no proof that he ever did. But yeah, when I was watching this, I was like, this is exactly where Frank Dux got the idea to say that he was in the Kumite and this underground fight tournament to get revenge. It definitely feels like it. But overall, I'm going to give this movie an 8 out of 10. This is a must watch if you haven't seen it. A staple in the action movie genre. This is part of martial arts history. I would say the vibe for this one is like Warrior Fuel meets Late Night Gold, kind of like that movie you watch when you want to like root for somebody and get your action fix at the same time, like on a Saturday night or something. This is that movie you throw on, and it definitely scratches that itch, and even does more so than scratch that itch. I would say this is a really good movie, really good cinematic experience as well. So yeah, Enter the Dragon, 8 out of 10. And last up, the last movie I watched this week is Thunderbolts. I went and saw this one in theaters. This is a great return to form for the MCU. This is kind of the MCU going back to character-driven stories and taking a step back from multiverse level threats. Even if you're not super familiar with these characters going into this movie, I think you're going to leave feeling connected to them at the end of this movie when you leave the theater. And in my opinion, that's something that's been missing from the MCU for a long time, probably since something like Shang-Chi, since we've had, this level of connection with new characters, essentially new characters. I think Wyatt Russell, Florence Poe, and David Harbour kind of steal the show with their performances here, combined with a story that's really driven on mental health and something a little bit more serious than your typical MCU superhero movie. And it keeps itself a superhero movie while balancing that more serious story as well. So I thought that was a pretty good balance that they managed to walk really well. And the action scenes in this are really great. There's two specific action sequences that I haven't stopped thinking about since I've seen it. And if you have seen it or you're going to see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see the two action sequences. They're very good, very well choreographed. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10, reinforcing about what I said about the characters being strong and the story being there to back them up makes this kind of must see in my opinion, especially if you're someone who's kind of fallen out with the MCU that you once loved. I think that this is something that you will really enjoy. It kind of takes it back to the roots of, like I said, strong character driven stories and characters that you feel connected to. And the vibe of this one is kind of hard to put my finger on in a good way. It's kind of a lot of different things. I'm going to kind of create a vibe for this one and let's call it couch therapy with a cape. And make no mistake, this is a superhero movie, but at its heart, it's quite a bit more than that, and there's a lot to take away from it. So yeah, Thunderbolts, 8.5 out of 10. Definitely worth going to see in the theater if you have not already. And yeah, that's going to wrap up this week's weekly watches. Drop down in the comments below what you guys would rank these movies. Did I get it spot on? Did I miss something? Let me know down in the comments below. And also, I want to take suggestions from you guys, so leave those down in the comments, and I'll try to pick one a week. So if you want to be the first one on episode 2, drop a comment down below and let me know what you want me to watch, and you could end up being on the weekly watch next week. So yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for checking this out. This is something new I'm doing. Not sure how I'm going to structure it going forward, but this is kind of just a rough draft of how I kind of want it to go. If you guys have any constructive criticism, feel free to leave that in the comments as well. I really do appreciate that. And yeah, if you're new here, go ahead and hit subscribe. Be sure to leave a like if you liked this video. And I'm out on this one. You've been phenomenal. I've been T-Ray, and I will see you in the next one.